Welcome to the deep dive. We pull together a stack of sources and really try to extract the key nuggets of knowledge for you.
Yeah, we do the digging so you don't have to.
Exactly. And today, we're diving into something that I think hits close to home for pretty much everyone. It's this tension between our human expectation of fairness, what feels right, and then, well, the often surprising nature of true generosity.
Sometimes radically surprising.
Right. So we're going to peel back some layers from ancient texts today, and they really challenge our sort of ingrained ideas about what we think we deserve.
It's a fascinating clash of perspectives.
It really is. So the core question guiding us today is basically this. What happens when the rules of payment, of recognition, what happens when they just completely defy our everyday sense of what's fair?
Yeah, when the system doesn't work like we think it should.
Exactly. And we've got a great mix of sources, parables, psalms, some really deep reflections. They offer insights into gratitude, yes, but also envy and this idea of, well, divine generosity. And to kick things off, we're jumping straight into a story. It's about a landowner who pays all his workers the exact same wage.
Ah, that one, yeah.
Yeah, no matter how long they actually worked. This one, well, it's going to make you think.
Yeah.
Okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah, let's do it. And just for context, our main source here is from the book of Matthew. It's the parable of the workers in the vineyard.
A classic.
It is. Matthew 20, verses 1 to 16. And this reading often comes up around the memorial of St. Bernard, August 20th, 2025, using lectionary 421.
Good context.
But we're not stopping there. We're also pulling in some really interesting stuff from Jotham's parable of the trees and Judges.
Oh, that's a great one, too.
Yeah, Judges 9. And we'll weave in wisdom from some Psalms and the book of Hebrews as well.
It's quite a mix.
Definitely. And our mission really for this deep dive is to pull out those key insights, How can these ancient words help us understand grace better? Maybe let go of comparing ourselves to others.
And embrace gratitude even when things seem off.
Exactly, even when it doesn't feel fair by our standards.
Yeah. Okay, so the parable of the workers in the vineyard. It's such a fantastic place to start because, bam, it just immediately confronts our assumptions, doesn't it?
Right away, no messing around.
It opens with this landowner, goes out at dawn, hires laborers, okay, standard enough, agrees to pay them the usual daily wage.
And it's worth pausing on that usual daily wage, the denarius.
Yeah, tell us about that.
Well, it wasn't, pocket money. It was often just barely enough to feed a family for one day.
Wow, so survival wages.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
This payment isn't casual. It's absolutely essential. It's their livelihood on the line.
Okay, so that raises the stakes considerably.
It does. And then things start getting, well, unconventional. He goes out again. 9 o'clock, then noon, 3 o'clock, even at 5 o'clock, just an hour before quitting time.
Still hiring.
Still hiring. Finds people just standing around, idle, sends them into his vineyard too, and he tells these later groups he'll give them what is just.
Okay, what is just? Sounds reasonable, but maybe a bit vague.
A little vague, perhaps, but the real kicker comes at payday.
Right.
The owner tells his foreman, pay the laborers, beginning with the last and ending with the first.
Wait, start with the last ones hired?
Yep. The 5 o'clock crew. The ones who worked literally for 1 hour.
Okay. So what do they get for their 1 hour?
They each receive the full denarius, the usual daily wage.
The full day's pay. For 1 hour's work?
Exactly.
Okay. So you can imagine the guys who started at dawn, sweating all day.
Yeah.
What's their immediate reaction seeing this, that feeling?
Oh, it's exactly what you'd expect. Pure outrage.
I bet.
They feel totally cheated, even though technically they also received the full denarius, exactly what they agreed to.
But seeing the others.
Seeing someone work just an hour and get the same essential amount, it wasn't just unfair in their eyes, it felt like a slap in the face, an insult to their hard labor, the heat, everything.
Yeah, you can feel that injustice burning.
They complained directly to the landowner. These last ones worked only 1 hour, and you've made them equal to us, who bore the day's burden and the heat. It's just raw frustration.
And that really slams us right into how deep our I earned it mentality goes, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
It's not just about the money. It's this core belief that effort must equal reward.
Yeah.
Like it's a law of the universe.
But this story just throws that law out the window. It suggests a totally different economy.
A radical generosity.
Yeah.
It operates on different rules entirely. how does that challenge us? Not just like logically, but deep down.
Well, precisely, because it hooks into our sense of recognition, our status, maybe even our self-worth, right? All tied up in what we think we deserve based on what we put in.
Yeah.
And this divine generosity, as the story presents it, isn't just about bigger portions. It's a completely different logic.
So what does the landowner say back to them? How does he justify this?
His response is really profound. He picks one out and says, basically, my friend, I'm not cheating you. Didn't we agree on the denarius? The usual wage?
Okay, fair point. They did agree.
So take what's yours and go, what if I want to give this last one the same as you?
Hmm.
Or, and this is the clincher, am I not free to do as I wish with my own money? Are you envious because I am generous?
Oof. He calls it out directly. Envy.
Directly confronts it, turns the tables. It's not about his unfairness, he suggests, but about their envy of his generosity to others.
So the question isn't just, is God fair by our standards? It's more like, how does our human definition of fairness just fundamentally clash with this divine economy? An economy rooted in absolute grace, not just, proportional reward.
Exactly. And the parable ends with that really famous punchy line, thus the last will be first and the first will be last.
Which flips everything upside down. And our other sources really echo this. One reflection puts it beautifully, I thought. It says, God's generosity goes beyond human fairness.
Yeah, that's a key takeaway.
His grace is a gift, freely given, not something we can earn or measure against others. It just reframes the whole thing.
And that same reflection ties it back to the landowner's question, saying, envy blinds us, but gratitude opens our hearts to see his goodness.
Ah, right. So envy versus gratitude. That's the lens.
It connects perfectly. Are you envious because I am generous? It forces a shift, doesn't it? Away from what we think we deserve and towards appreciating what's actually given.
And doesn't one of the songs speak to this too? About God's nature?
Yes, Psalm 145, verse 17, the Lord is righteous in all his ways, faithful in all he does. It reinforces that this generosity isn't just random. It's part of a divine character, a divine way of operating that just uses a different calculator than we do.
A different calculator. I like that. Okay, so the landowner's story completely upends our ideas about payment and reward.
Right.
But our sources also bring in another story, Jotham's parable of the trees from Judges 9, which kind of does a similar thing for our ideas about leadership, contribution. It's a really interesting contrast.
It is. It offers a different angle on value and service. In that story, the trees decide they need a king. So they go first to the olive tree. Makes sense, right? Valuable tree.
Very valuable. Olive oil was crucial.
Exactly. But the olive tree says, no. Must I give up my rich oil whereby men and gods are honored and go to wave over the trees? Basically, I have my purpose, my value. Why trade that for ruling?
Interesting refusal. It's prioritizing its own function.
Right. Think about the olive, the fig, the vine. These were symbols of prosperity, health, life itself in ancient Israel.
Bagels.
Absolutely. The fig gives sweetness, sustenance. The vine gives wine, joy. They are inherently valuable, productive.
So they ask the fig tree next.
Yep. Same answer. Refuses. Unwilling to give up its sweetness and my good fruit.
Okay.
Then the vine. Same story. Declines. Doesn't want to give up its wine that cheers gods and men.
So the most valuable, the most productive, the ones you'd expect to lead, they all say no. They want to stick to their core purpose.
It seems that way. Maybe it says something about the compromises power demands. Or maybe just a desire to maintain their intrinsic value without the hassle of governing. They're good at what they do, and they want to keep doing it.
Okay, so who do they ask then, if the A-listers refuse?
They turn to the buckthorn.
The buckthorn. Isn't that just like a thorny shrub, not exactly prized?
Precisely. Thorny, unproductive in terms of good fruit like the others. Not known for its inherent gifts.
And what does the buckthorn say?
The buckthorn agrees, but with a condition, a warning, really.
Yeah.
It says, if you wish to anoint me king over you in good faith, come and take refuge in my shadow, which isn't much shade, by the way.
Right, it's a shrub.
Otherwise, it warns, let fire come from the buckthorn and devour the cedars of Lebanon.
Whoa, okay, that's quite the acceptance speech. Refuge or destruction?
It's a very different vibe, isn't it? Not exactly humble service. This less valuable plant steps up, but with a potentially self-serving, even threatening edge.
So compared to the vineyard parable, which was about payment for labor, this one seems to be about motivations for leadership, for service itself.
Exactly. Very different flavor. It makes you think about why people seek or accept power. Is it for the good they can do, like the olive or fig could have done? Or is it something else?
So If the vineyard story messes with our idea of earned reward, is Jotham's parable doing something similar for earned leadership or maybe deserved authority?
It's a great way to connect them.
Do these two stories, which seem pretty different on the surface, actually point to a bigger theme? Maybe about, well, divine or non-human ways of valuing things, where the one we expect to be first or most worthy isn't always the one chosen or rewarded.
I think that's an excellent connection. Both parables definitely challenge our human assumptions about who deserves what.
Right.
The vineyard parable blows up our merit-based reward system with this overwhelming generosity. Jotham's parable questions who gets to lead, showing that power isn't always taken by the obviously best candidate, and sometimes it comes with strings attached or even danger.
And how does the idea of discernment fit in here? You mentioned Hebrews earlier.
Yes, Hebrews 4.1. The word of God is living and effective, able to discern the reflections and thoughts of the heart. This really helps, I think, when looking at the vineyard workers. Their grumbling wasn't really about the wage itself. They got what was agreed.
It was about the comparison.
Yeah.
The envy.
Exactly. It came from that place of envy deep down, their internal state. And Hebrews reminds us that God sees that, discerns those inner motivations. It's about what's in the heart, both in how we react to generosity and maybe how we approach leadership, too.
So connecting this back, one of the reflections mentioned his kingdom. It said, in his kingdom, what matters is not when we come, but that we answer his call with love. What does his kingdom mean in this context? It's not just a place, right?
No, not just a physical location. It's more like an alternative reality, a different set of operating principles, different values that often turn our usual earthly logic completely on its head.
Like the last being first.
Exactly. It's a call to live by a different economy, you could say. One where grace, not just merit, is the main currency.
So it's less about how long you've been on the job or how much you think you've put in.
And more about your willingness to just show up, answer the call, contribute with love, regardless of when you arrived or what the guy next to you is getting.
Wow. Okay, this deep dive is really taking us on quite a ride.
It covers a lot of ground.
We started with that very human, very relatable sense of fairness, effort should equal reward. And then boom, the landowner in the vineyard just shattered that with his radical generosity.
A generosity that seems to defy our logic.
Totally. And then Jotham's parable gave us this other angle on leadership and service, where the most obviously worthy trees didn't step up and the one that did well had conditions. It makes you think about value and power differently.
And pulling it all together, that core insight keeps coming back. God's generosity goes beyond human fairness.
It's not about earning it.
Right. His grace is a gift, freely given. You can't earn it. You can't measure it against what others receive. And we saw how crucial that distinction is. Envy blinds us, but gratitude opens our hearts to see his goodness.
Yeah, that envy versus gratitude thing feels really central. Brings us right back to that question from one of the sources, something practical for us, for you listening. How can I practice gratitude today instead of comparing myself to others?
That's the challenge, isn't it?
It is. Like, imagine you're stuck on a miserable flight, hours of delays, turbulence, and then right before landing, someone hops on, sits next to you, and gets the same free upgrade voucher you just got after all that suffering.
Ooh, yeah, that feeling.
That instant gut punch of, that's not fair. That's what those workers felt, right? But the challenge is, how do we move past that feeling to just being grateful for the voucher we received, regardless of the other person?
Because, as the sources suggest, in his kingdom, in that different economy, maybe what really matters isn't when we arrive or how long we toiled.
But just that we answered the call.
Where?
With love.
Exactly. We're encouraged to serve faithfully no matter the hour of our calling. Knowing that the real reward isn't just about what we tally up on our scorecard.
It's about the grace we receive.
It's about maybe trying to let go of that internal scorecard we all tend to keep and just embracing the gift when it's offered.
So here's a final thought to chew on, maybe something for you to carry forward from this deep dive. If the lesson truly is, the last will be first and the first will be last, what does that actually mean for how we approach our own work, our efforts, the rewards we expect to receive, and maybe even the generosity we show or maybe don't show to others in our daily lives?
That's a good question to ponder.
Something to think about.